Lalo THR here. What's going down, everybody? Back in full effect. I hope you're doing fantastic. It's been a minute. Today's episode's gonna be a quickie. Just a few things I want to talk about. Mainly, we're gonna bring back Talkin Boxin because we got some big news in the fight game with the Mexican monster David Benavidez destroying Demetrius Boo Boo Andrade, as well as the return of the King. Ryan KingRY Garcia as he disposes of some nobody named Oscar Duarte. Yeah, I ain't buying the hype. Y'all ain't selling me. I gotta see more from Ryan before I could officially declare him as back. And we'll get into that. We'll get into that in a bunch of separate recordings that I've completed over the course of this past month. And what I'm gonna open with is my experience at Full Gear, and I want to just apologize for my voice because I actually lost my voice after Full Gear. I mean, it was completely gone. I wanted to do a review of the show. I know I said I would, but I couldn't, quite frankly, because I didn't have a voice. It was gone. I was doing too much screaming and talking, and also, as you'll hear, my experience in a moment. I was pretty messed up too. Like I got drunk, man. Like I legit got drunk. I got messed up, man. So I'll get into that in a second. Before we begin the festivities, I do want to do a quick impromptu review of Woo Energy. Woo! Ric Flair's energy drinks, because I got that in the mail recently, and there's also some controversy going down yet again. You know, it seems like controversy and Ric Flair, they're like peanut butter and jelly at this point in time. And, apparently he cut a very cringy promo on Rampage, which will certainly be edited out, as has been reported. But he said something along the lines of, oh, women 18 and up are invited to come join me in my hotel room. No boyfriends or husbands allowed. And he got a huge backlash from this promo, and so much so that apparently he also made comments. I don't know. I still haven't read the articles if he actually said this on the microphone there in the building or during an interview or something. But then he said something along the lines of, maybe it's best if I just leave AEW, if I just leave and go away and don't come back or something like that. But I'm going to tell you right now, his energy drink ain't going anywhere, because in spite of Ric Flair's, being his own worst enemy, his energy drink is pretty freaking good, man. And let's put respect on his energy drink, because just because it has his name on it don't mean it's from him. It's a company that develops it. I got into it on Reddit because I posted about it, the screenshot of the variety pack that I ordered, asking if anybody else has tried it and what they thought. And lots of people comment, of course, trolling me and, saying, oh, I unlike you, I don't support a sex pest and this and that. And, I don't give my money to, whatever, controversial people and stuff. And, I responded back like, hey, man, I got some bad news for you, because the shoes you're wearing were made by literal slaves in China. And the smartphone you're using is being produced by literal slaves in China. They got to put nets outside of the windows so these workers don't jump out and commit suicide like they usually do. So don't be a hypocrite. That's all I'm saying. I do not condone Ric Flair's behavior and the things that he's done in his life. But that's not going to stop me from trying an energy drink, because I am a pretty frequent energy drink consumer. And I will tell you, man, I've only tried 2 of the variety pack flavors thus far, which is dragon fruit and lemon. And I could tell you that they're both delicious. Very good. They're not too sweet. They're not too vitamin-y, like The Rock's Zoa energy drink, which tastes like Flintstone vitamins to me. Ric Flair's energy drink has a very smooth body. It reminds me of a cream soda, kind of like a cream soda, but a little bit lighter. And yeah, it's good, man. I highly recommend it. The Woo energy drink. Anybody out there that drinks energy drinks, because it's not too bad. At least the 2 flavors that I've tried. I have a couple other flavors to try. I don't remember at the moment what they are, but but the dragon fruit and the lemon is very good. And let's talk about AEW Fight Forever, because that's something that I never talked about. And I bought that game months and months ago, and I never did a review on it. I'm not gonna do a full scale, in depth review. All I'm gonna say is this: you got a bunch of people online complaining that they spent $50, $60 on it. Dog, I pre-ordered the Elite Edition, which ran me about $72 plus tax. Okay, and when I downloaded the game, less than an hour later after playing it, I just sat there with doo-doo face, realizing that I threw my money away. So don't complain. Don't buy the game. It's not worth it. I'm gonna just tell you right now, the game is not worth it. And the main issue that I have for it is it's not even the issues that other people are complaining. Like, a lot of people, obviously, and they're valid complaints. But the majority of people, they're complaining about a lack of features. Like no sandbox mode, no GM mode or universe mode type deal. And of course, the creation suite being a complete joke, lacking in features. But my main complaint above everything else is the fucking pin system. Because you have this incredible gameplay engine, incredible wrestling mechanics in this game, but yet is completely useless when you have a shitty pin system. I literally win matches just doing a suplex, and then I could pin my opponent after a certain time. Matches, you can't have more than a 10-15 minute match. It's hard to do that. Like, it's a challenge to actually have a match go longer than 10 or 15 minutes. It's very difficult, because anything ends matches in the game. You could win a match with a headlock takeover in that fucking game. You know what I mean? So that right there, to me, is the biggest issue of all, because you have this really great gameplay engine, man. Like, it really is a hybrid of No Mercy and Here Comes the Pain, with a lot of added modern features and dynamics, that make it up to date, with today's gaming landscape. But then you have that shitty pin system, which is a button mash system, which is fine. I don't have a problem with a mash system. I mean, that's Here Comes the Pain had that same system. No Mercy had that same system. It's not a problem. But it is a problem in this game, because you're not clearly mashing the buttons hard enough to kick out of a pin. Neither is the AI, apparently. Because the game is too easy. There is no replayability at all. And then, you talk about Road to Elite mode. That is the biggest disappointment too, as far as all the modes go. Because the gameplay is fine minus the pin system. But then you get into their flagship mode, which is supposed to be Road to Elite, their career mode. And it's terrible, man. It's terrible. It is complete trash. And there is no replayability. So I had the game. I bought it. I mean, as soon as it launched, I had it downloaded to my Xbox. And I played the game maybe like in spurts of like 15 minutes tops. And then I turn it off and don't play it for weeks at a time. Which is a shame. I mean, I spend most of my time just changing my champions that are champions in the game. Just having title matches for the fuck of it, and changing the titles. And that's pretty much all I do. I haven't even tried Stadium Stampede. I haven't even tried that mode. And I likely won't, because I'm just not into that kind of stuff. It's like a wannabe Fortnite free-for-all or battle royal type of thing, but with wrestling. And to me, that's just dumb. I mean, I like that they were thinking outside of the box, but this development, I don't know if it's Kenny Omega's fault. He tried to make the game like Pokemon Stadium with these dumbass mini games. Instead of adding more wrestlers and arenas and stuff to the creation mode, they added these dumbass Pokemon Stadium like mini games, or Mario Party like mini games. And that, to me, wouldn't surprise me if that was a Kenny Omega thing, because he's a big nerd. But I mean, and again, I like that they were trying to be ambitious and do something different and think outside the box. But this is a classic case of them just doing too much instead of just focusing on the fundamentals. Like, just make a fun wrestling game. You don't gotta add these dumbass mini games, you know. And road to elite mode, I don't want my character to be eating at restaurants. Like, come on, man. What is that? And go sightseeing, see monuments and stuff. What is that? You know, just focus on making a good, fun wrestling game. And they had half of that ready with the gameplay, but that pin system just messed everything up. So that's my verdict on Fight Forever, guys. It's not worth it. A lot of people are already declaring it as dead because ever since they launched Season Pass 2, you know, people are saying that it clearly shows that they're not going to continue to try to really support the game, because just adding in a couple new downloadable characters and arenas, that's not improving the game. You know, there's clearly some major issues that still need to be worked on. So yeah, guys, if you haven't bought Fight Forever, don't buy it. It's not worth it. I would wait for, there's a game called Ultra Pro Wrestling being developed by some developers in the UK that highly ambitious. I mean, if they can end up releasing all the things that they're saying they want to release with the game, it's gonna be a fantastic game, and that's gonna be a true No Mercy successor, unlike AEW Fight Forever, which is 100% not. So let's go ahead and get into my AEW Full Gear experience. Full Gear was a lot of fun, man. I was there live. The main event was kind of not you know what you expect from a pay-per-view main event from AEW, but it was fun being there live. I mean, I still have yet to see it, like from a broadcast perspective, see the footage, but I was there live, and man, I got drunk, dog. I pounded like 9 beers and one of those like canned margaritas with like 12%, 12.6% ABV, because it got like tequila in it. I got smashed, and I was just screaming. I lost my voice. I'm still recovering. My voice is finally back to normal for the most part, but I had lost my voice for the whole week. And I wanted to do a review of the show right after, but I could not. My voice was gone. It was gone. But it was so much fun, dude. I met some really cool people. I took a bunch of pictures and videos, which I'm not gonna upload because I was acting a fool. There was a moment where Jericho put somebody in the walls in his match, one of the Bucks, I guess, and I was like, "Make that motherfucker tap!" I was like, "Fuck these jobbers!" Like I was just acting a fool, man. It's kind of embarrassing actually, because I don't want to act like that in public. You know what I mean? I don't want to be vulgar like that at a wrestling show when, you know, there's probably kids around and stuff. And I was acting stupid, man, to be honest. But I was hype, man. Okay, sue me. I was hype, and bro, I grabbed I think Dax Harwood's titty. And I don't know, you could probably see it. Like, I don't know, I'm gonna buy the DVD to see. But I got overexcited, bro, because he came close to the barricade where I was at. And he was shaking people's hands, and I was jumping up and down, and I grabbed him, bro. And I tried to shake his hand again before he left, but I grabbed his titty instead of his hand. And he turned around too, like, what the fuck? And I put my hands on my head, and I told my lady, I'm like, babe, I just grabbed this man's titty. So I don't know if that's on the DVD. I'm gonna buy it. I'm gonna order it to see if I can see that shit. Oh my God. I got way too excited. My lady, she was holding the MJF sign. I'm pretty sure made it on camera. I'm pretty sure. I mean, we seen ourselves in the Titantron during replays and stuff. But cuz we were right there by the stage.
when we were on floor B by the stage. So that's like the left side, of the stage. Like when the wrestlers are coming out, we were to their left. And my lady was holding up the MJF "You Are My Sunshine" sign, where it had pictures of him on the Rosie O'Donnell show as a kid singing "You Are My Sunshine." And yeah, man, it was a lot of fun. It was a lot of fun. All the matches were fun because I was drunk. I wasn't even, bro. I don't even remember the moves. Like, obviously the match that had the most investment was Swerve and Page. And I don't even remember the spots. Like, obviously the big controversy, the big thing people are talking about is Adam Page drinking Swerve's blood and spitting it out. And I don't even remember that. I don't. I was really hammered, man. I don't even remember that. All I remember is I was just going crazy for Swerve. I did the dance and everything when him and Nana came out. And I was telling everybody in my section too. I said, "Bro, Swerve better go over." That's all I'm gonna say. Swerve better go over. And he did. He did go over, which I'm surprised by. 2 clean wins. Which that's why I don't know why they're even continuing this feud. It's pretty much set in stone that Swerve is the better man. He beat Page twice, man. What the hell? But yeah, man, Full Gear was a lot of fun. That's the match. That was the highlight. The ladder match tag team was cool too. It was awesome to see Roosh live. I was also getting kind of hyped for Roosh. And yeah, and Sting. Oh man, to see Sting. I was wearing a Sting shirt, by the way, a vintage like 1990s Sting shirt. I got it in the AEW crate that I get quarterly. And yeah, man, when Sting came out and Ric Flair came, I was surprised to see Ric Flair. Of course, I recorded his entrance. I was like, oh shit, over and over. Nah, man, I was acting a fool for real. I told my lady I gotta chill out whenever, because that's not the first time either. Like I went to the Metallica concert and at SoFi Stadium last August. It was a birthday gift to me. And I was just going fucking wild, man. Like I look like I mean, some of the people around me look like they were getting scared, dog, because I was going too crazy, walking around and shit and banging my head. And I mean, Metallica's my favorite band of all time. And that was my first time seeing them live, and that was a bucket list thing for me. Like before I die, I have to see Metallica live. And I did. So, of course, I was going fucking bananas, dude. But yeah, I told my lady, I gotta chill out, man. From now on, when I go to live events, just drink a few beers and just chill out. Don't get stupid. Because nobody wants that, we actually, met up with my lady's sister and her sister's boyfriend as well. And they actually told us a story about they went to AEW Revolution that happened in, I think, San Francisco, California, at the Cow Palace, if I'm not mistaken. And there was somebody that got so drunk in their section that he actually passed out. He fell on the floor and was on the floor for a little while too before security. They had to bring out a stretcher for this dude that got too drunk and like blacked out and was acting dumb. And so they tell me that story, and then here I go drinking nine tall cans and that margarita in a can thing, and I'm going fucking crazy. I mean, I know my limits though. I'm not gonna black out or pass out or anything like that. But I was acting dumb though. So, but I had a great time. Full Gear was a lot of fun. I'm not gonna review the show because I mean, again, I don't even remember a lot of it, man. I was just having a good time. But I am gonna buy the DVD. As a matter of fact, after I record this, I'm gonna go on AEW shop and see if they have that on DVD already. I'll order it right now. CM Punk returns to WWE after 10 years of being away from the company that pretty much made him a household name. This news is actually earth-shattering for a lot of people, especially those people who never gave AEW a chance and just strictly tuned into WWE, because those people never thought Punk would come back to WWE. And their fandom for the E wouldn't allow them to give AEW a chance. So now that he's back, it's been earth-shattering for those people. And you know, this is a really, really bad look for AEW. Any way you slice it. You know, people are calling Punk a hypocrite and this and that and whatnot and the other, but any way you want to look at it, this is a bad look for AEW. Because the fact that CM Punk is willing to go back to a company that fired him on his wedding day and was a living hell for him for a while. He had a undiagnosed, untreated staph infection, which he was basically forced to work under. And you can see it. There's footage of him working on it too. There's like a big old ball on his back. And you could see it specifically in the Royal Rumble match, the last match he competed in, I believe. I could be wrong about that, actually. The fact that he's willing to go back to this company that he's minced with words, instead of trying to work things out with AEW and make AEW a better place, that just shows how the lack of structure, the lack of leadership, and it just makes AEW look like a fucking mess. That this man is willing to join the dark side, if you will. And now you have QT Marshall resigning from AEW as well. They lost Jade Cargill, who they offered a substantial amount of money. I'm pretty sure they offered Jade Cargill more money than what WWE is currently paying her, and she still turned it down so she can go to WWE. This makes WWE look like it's a hot destination, like it's where everybody wants to be. And it makes AEW look like amateur hour, where nobody of value wants to remain at. And, you know, as far as the Punk stuff, again, you know, people are saying, oh, well, you know, AEW gave Punk the world. They did everything for him. They gave him a new show. They gave him creative control. There's even some people speculating that he was made an EVP of AEW and this and that. None of that shit means anything, dog. None of that means anything. That's like, you know, that's like a shitty company that's not expanding, that's not doing nothing, that doesn't have any real leadership, giving me a EVP job. You know, like, dude, I don't want to be a president of a company that's fucking a mess, that's in disarray, that's disorganized, discombobulated. What's that going to do for my career? You see what I'm saying? None of that means anything, dude. In fact, I'll even say that actually even adds to the bad image of AEW. The fact that they gave CM Punk everything and he still didn't want to be there. Clearly wanted to be with WWE. I mean, even while he was under contract with AEW, there was that big story that came out, I believe, November, last year, November, I think. I don't remember exactly when, but when CM Punk actually went backstage in WWE Raw, I believe, when they were in Chicago, and Vince McMahon had to ask him to leave, but he like spoke briefly with Triple H, and he tried to make amends with like the Miz and stuff like that, or something along those lines. I remember the story was huge though, because it is huge. I mean, when you're contracted to one company, and then you're gonna go backstage to another company show, like that's not a good look. It wasn't a good look then, and hindsight's 2020. It's definitely not a good look now. Because now we can clearly see that this man wanted to go back to WWE even while he was under contract with AEW. And that is not a good look for AEW any way you slice it. And I'm just going to say this right now. I'm going to say this right now, man. If WWE takes MJF away from AEW, guys, AEW is fucking dead. Capital DEAD, dead. I'm telling you right now, because MJF is the only thing AEW has going for it at this point in time. I mean, the Continental Classic and everything is cool, and I mean, I don't know, man, but MJF is the only real star they have left, the only person of interest, the only thing that could compel you to tune in to Dynamite. MJF. If WWE takes him away, it is game over, daddy. Game over. And I'm not saying, you know, you have people on the AEW subreddit like, oh, AEW is not going anywhere. It'll survive. Yeah, it'll survive, but it's not gonna be where it's at. Like, it's not even where it's at now, where it was back in the day when they were doing 1 million views in the ratings. You know, like, it's not a foregone conclusion that Warner Discovery is going to renew. And, you know, a lot of people seem to have this idea that Warner Discovery is not only going to renew Dynamite and Collision and Rampage, but they're also going to give AEW a streaming platform on Max. And I don't know why everyone is so confident that these deals are going to go through. Dude, it's not a foregone conclusion at all. I don't care what the perception is. Oh, well, Warner Bros. Seem to be happy with AEW. Yeah, they're not going to shit on AEW in public, bro. You know, of course, in articles and interviews, they're going to say, oh, we're very pleased with AEW Dynamite's ratings and this and that. Of course, they're going to talk them up because they're on their network. They're not going to shit on them. You think Warner Brothers Discovery is going to come out and say, oh, AEW is a shitty product? They're not doing good in the ratings. They're faltering. Like these guys are amateurs. They're not going to say stuff like that. Of course, they're going to praise. They're professionals, man. It's a business. So it's not a foregone conclusion, you know, and I don't know, man, but I think that it's kind of grim, the fact that we're still waiting on a deal. Because if I'm not mistaken, I really thought that a deal is supposed to be announced in early 2024. We're in November right now, and there's still no word on any kind of progress with that. As far as I know, I could be wrong about that. But if WWE takes CM Punk away, MJF away, they did take CM Punk away, evidently, and it still doesn't hurt as badly as if they were to take MJF away. You know, Cody leaving was a huge blow. Jade Cargill leaving was a pretty big blow. CM Punk leaving was a massive blow. Now you take MJF away from AEW, and that is the gunshot wound to the torso that I just don't think AEW could survive. Now, what I mean by that, they're not going to go out of business. Of course not. You know, they're backed by a billionaire. You know, they're not going to go out of business, but you might see their ass on Access TV. You might be watching Dynamite on Destination America, not on TNT or TBS. You know, if they take MJF away from AEW, AEW is going to be like Impact, bro. That's what I mean by they're not going to survive that. They'll be like Impact. They'll, you know, as far as perception and popularity, they'll be like Impact. They'll be like MLW. That's what's going to happen. Because they don't have anybody left. You know, they have some guys that could potentially become crossover, big appeal stars like MJF. I mean, Swerve Strickland is real hot right now. And that's pretty much it. Honestly, they haven't built anybody else. The only guys that are getting the most pushes and everything are guys like Orange Cassidy. You know, I mean, this guy, Orange Cassidy, I don't know, man. John Moxley ain't gonna be a strong enough foundation. And as good as John Moxley is, he's not a strong enough foundation to carry it if MJF happens to leave. And people think it's a foregone conclusion that MJF has re-signed already, too. That's another thing I forgot to mention. It's not a foregone conclusion, guys, that MJF renewed his AEW deal or signed to a bigger contract. It is not a foregone conclusion. I don't know where people are getting this from. Everyone seems to think they're confident that MJF has already re-signed with AEW and he's got a massive contract and this and that. I'm going to tell you right now, if I'm Tony Khan, bro, I'm giving MJF the 1990s WCW Hulk Hogan contract. Minus the creative control clause where, you know, he can pretty much politic everything. Minus that, but I'm giving him all the money in the world, dog. He's getting that Hulk Hogan WCW contract. I'm doing whatever I can to keep MJF happy and with my company. Because the moment MJF leaves AEW, it's over.
Let's go ahead and talk about who's behind the devil mask as the speculation continues to run rampant. After this past Dynamite, we had some action in the ring involving the masked henchman to the devil attacking MJF, who was ultimately saved by Samoa Joe. I'm going to tell you right now, I think Wardlow is one of them. It looked like him, his body type. Big dude. Big dude. It looked like him. Because if it ain't him, I don't know who else. You know what I mean? It had his exact body type. And in fact, you got some nerds on Reddit piecing together evidence too about him having the same boots that he wore. You know, he had a match like literally right after that angle. And also his hair looked like he had been wearing a mask or a hat or something that, you know, compressed his hair. And that's something, those are things I did not notice, of course. You know, I mean, I'd like to think I'm an observant person, but I mean, with wrestling, I don't take it that seriously to be observing like that. But maybe I should be, you know, with a storyline like this. But that's pretty cool, man. That's pretty cool that people, you know, piece them things together. So Wardlow is a big suspect here to be one of the henchmen underneath the masks, the whatever those things are. Not the devil, of course, but, you know, one of the unknown, so to speak. And it will be the unknown versus MJF and Samoa Joe next week on Dynamite, which is going to be very interesting. I like the way the challenge was set up. It was very different from what I've ever seen on a wrestling show. It was very video game-esque. It felt like a video game. Like when the screen turned black and you seen the text come up, you know, it even sounded like a Final Fantasy game or something. You know, the sound effect of the text going across the screen. It looked like I'm watching somebody play Final Fantasy or something. And knowing AEW, that's probably what they were going for too. But I like it. I mean, it's different, you know, it's something different. It's something unique, you know. You ain't gonna see WWE do something like that. I mean, I know Bray Wyatt had, you know, very unique angles and video packages and stuff, vignettes, but God rest his soul. But he's no longer here, and AEW now is capitalizing on the uniqueness of angles like that. So, as far as who's under the devil mask, man, it's funny because I had a big speech planned about how it could be completely possible that CM Punk is the devil, and then he shows up in WWE. So obviously that's out of the question now. But I still want to say it though. I still want to say, because for all the people that were like, oh, it's completely impossible, it's preposterous, it's not Punk, it won't be Punk, it can't be Punk, it's impossible. Bro, it could have been completely possible. And the reason I'm saying that is because the main argument that the people saying that it's completely impossible, the main argument they were using is that, oh, it cannot be a work, that he was fired and this and that, and they made Collision suffer just for a storyline. But I just want to say that's not how it would have panned out. If it were, let's say, in an alternate timeline, CM Punk never returned to WWE, it could be Punk, because the only way it could have been Punk is if they worked things out. Tony Khan gave him a call and said, "Hey, Phil, I know things escalated very quickly, and I think we could do business though. I think you should come back. I think you should be the one under the devil's mask, because the fans are speculating like crazy. Let's turn this shit into the greatest angle of all time with you being the star of it. And bam, I'll give you bigger money. I'll give you, a better deal. And things aren't going to happen the way they happen. I'm a bitch slap Jack Perry. I'm a, keep the elite under control, man. Just come back. And that's how it could have played out. It was completely possible. Unlikely, yes. Improbable, yes, but not impossible. That's all I'm saying. So who's under the devil's mask, bro? Now that we know it ain't Punk, now that we know it should be Adam Cole. That's what everybody's speculating, including myself, but I kind of don't like it to be Adam Cole, just because it's way too predictable. It's way too predictable. I mean, they left all kind of clues and hints, and I mean, it's funny, even like when Adam Cole and MJF were sitting in the ring together, and then, the lights went out and the devil appeared on the screen. Apparently, some nerds on Reddit also, or on Twitter, one or the other, they actually showed the video. They played it back in slow motion, and they said, "Look, Adam Cole puts his hands in his pocket right before the video screen, kicks on with the devil on it." So so for all the people that are saying, "Oh, it can't be Adam Cole because he was in the ring with MJF," well, it could, because he could have pre-recorded that video and had it kicked on by one of his assailants, or himself controlling it with a smartphone or something in his pocket. Who knows? I mean, those are dumb. I think that's kind of dumb, but it's not. Again, it's not impossible. You know. But yeah, Adam Cole, man, he seems to be the likeliest candidate to be the devil, just because it makes the most sense, and just because it's predictable, it doesn't necessarily mean that it's bad or anything. But his injury really threw a monkey wrench into everything, and now it appears that MJF himself is also injured, so that's not good, and that's bad in a lot of ways, actually. Not even just because of this storyline, but MJF has truly become, as I said, yeah, he's pretty much the best thing that AEW has going for it. He really is, and it's a shame, man. If it's a serious injury and he's gonna have to take time off from AEW, that is gonna be a massive blow for the company. So Who do I want to be the devil though? I mean, because I'm gonna say this, it does make the most sense for Adam Cole to be the devil, but it could be somebody else. I mean, hell, there's even people speculating that MJF could actually be the devil, and that this whole thing is a charade, and because the greatest trick the devil ever pulled type of deal. They could use that narrative, and it could be a big swerve. And hell, speaking of swerve, why not Swerve be the devil? Now, I mean, hear me out. Hear me out. Swerve has shown clearly a dark side, a creepy side, quite frankly, with that invading Adam Page's house and cutting a promo on a little baby. I mean, he has shown a dark side, so to speak. I mean, imagine if Swerve is revealed to be the devil, and you know, he was cutting double duty, working with Page in a feud, terrorizing him, and at the same time terrorizing MJF. Put Swerve over big, over the top. Imagine that. I mean, if they could invade people's houses, and sneak on in, why can't he be the one that snuck in and stole the devil's mask from MJF? I mean, it's something to think about, man. I mean, I want Swerve to be pushed to infinity and beyond. No Buzz Lightyear. You feel me? I want him to become. I think he should be the champ. I really think he should be the next in line to win the title. And this could be the way he gets there, because right now the trajectory is headed toward Samoa Joe potentially capturing the title at World's End, just simply by default because of MJF's injuries, pending them being serious and him having to take time away. So they could easily insert Swerve into this whole dynamic by revealing him as the devil. Now, I'm not saying he is the devil, but I'm just saying, like, that could be a thing, And in fact, I would not mind it if it was revealed to be Swerve, man. I mean, the guy in the devil mask was shown to have like a slender body type, you know, and Swerve, I mean, he's built, but he's slender. You know what I mean? I mean, listen, whoever they showed in the devil's mask doesn't have to be the actual person in the devil's mask. Because there's always a way to explain that too. Like, oh, there were multiple people. There were, because he has assailants. Hell, it could be Swerve Strickland, and the people, the henchmen could be the Mogul Embassy. You feel me? It kind of don't look like them, when they were in the ring. The body types, it kind of don't look like them. In fact, the people that have saying that MJF could be the devil and the henchmen are former Pinnacle members, Wardlow, FTR, Sean Spears. I mean, that actually kind of looks like them too, their body type. One of them kind of looked like Dax Harwood, dog, and Cash Wheeler. But yeah, I'm gonna throw Swerve's name into the hat though, man. I would actually like Swerve to be revealed as the devil, way better than Jack Perry, because he's been another prime suspect to this. Is Jack Perry, another candidate. And if it's Jack Perry, bro, I was about to say I'm done with AEW, but nah, I won't stop watching. But that's dumb as hell, bro. Dumb as hell. It's just as dumb as people saying it's Britt Baker. Maybe a little less dumb than that, but it's all dumb as hell. It cannot be Jack Perry. It cannot be Britt Baker. You know what I mean? And Britt Baker is in the news because she's been tweeting, kind of dissing AEW and its angles right now. It's talking about, oh, so and so's getting TV time, but I'm not. Okay. And she even made fun of how at Full Gear, which I was at live, she even made fun of how, MJF wasn't cleared to compete, but yet they cleared Adam Cole on crutches. And she has a point. That was dumb as hell. That really was. you know. And then even when MJF came back, they tried to stop him from going in the ring. Yet you got a grown man with on crutches, you know, standing across the ring from Jay White. So that made no sense. But you know, AEW they try to add salsa to the platters, man. But you know, sometimes it works and sometimes it don't. That's just the way the old mop flaps. You know, that's the way it is. So moving on now. I do want to talk about the women's division just for a little bit because I'm really proud of both timeless Tony Storm and most especially Julia Hart. Because Julia Hart, man, she's killing it right now with her whole look, her get up, and she's not too shabby in the ring. I mean, there's been far worse women's wrestlers to come through. But Julia Hart, I think she makes a good TBS champ. I think it's interesting. I just think they need to insert her into some kind of angle that really puts her over the top. Like, you know, honestly, I would make her the leader of the House of Black. Real talk. Even though it's called the House of Black and Malachi Black has long been associated as to being the leader of the group, I would make it that Julia Hart is calling the shots. You know what I'm saying? Kind of similar to Rhea Ripley in the Judgment Day. I would make Julia Hart the leader. And just because she's making the most noise, I mean, where's Malachi Black at? Where's Buddy Matthews at? You know, I saw Buddy Matthews and Claudio tear the house down at Full Gear and the pre-show 0 hour. But these guys, they're nowhere to be found. Brody King, he's in the Continental Classic. Okay, where's Malachi Black? I don't know. Do something more with Julia Hart is all I'm saying, because she's fantastic. She really is. She has a great look about her. She has a presence about her. And I like her as the TBS champ. I think it's a good move. Timeless Tony Storm. I've been singing her praises for quite a bit. Timeless Tony Storm, she's doing it big right now. She's got Mariah May. Mariah May, who made her debut with AEW just a couple weeks ago or so. Mariah May made her name in Japan. Apparently, she was a big star over there in a promotion called Stardom. I don't know anything about that. I don't watch Japanese wrestling. But, you know, I hear a lot of pundits and fans alike criticizing her debut, that they should have made her into a bigger deal and this and that. But you know what? I don't have a problem at all with the way they debut Mariah May, to be quite honest, because I don't know this chick. Why should they make a big deal out of somebody that I don't know? Just because she was famous in Japan or whatever don't mean that she should get the red carpet treatment here. She has to earn her way up to the top. I have zero problems with the way they debut Mariah May. And she don't, I mean, I haven't seen her work yet. I have not seen her in the ring yet. If I'm not mistaken, she's supposed to have her debut in ring action on next week's Dynamite, I believe. But if she's good in the ring, she's good in the ring. But looks wise, she ain't all that. Just keeping it real. She ain't all that looks wise. She don't look like a mega star in the making or anything like that. She looks like, you know, just another blonde chick that happens to be a wrestler. But I do like this pairing of her with Tony Storm. I think that it's a good dynamic. You know, they're both platinum blondes. And Tony Storm is on another level right now, man. Her character work, it's fantastic. She is pulling off this role so well. You know, like it's just the perfect gimmick for her. And WWE, I bet you, like Triple H and co, they're just like, damn, man. Like this would have been cool on SmackDown. His timeless Tony Storm stuff. This is incredible. You know, because that's exactly the type of personality and character that WWE utilizes. This Marilyn Monroe type of get up and personality that Toni Storm is exuding. I dig it. And her as women's champ, I think she should have a long, sustained run with the women's championship. I like how they presented it to her, like it was a Golden Globe or whatever, like an Academy Award. And, it was perfect. It was perfect. I really, really dig what they're doing with Toni Storm and with Julia Hart. And, I could see Toni Storm and Julia Hart, crossing paths. I would like to see that because they're both the hottest things going on right now in the women's division in AEW. You know what I'm saying? That's money. I would like to see Toni Storm and Julia Hart cross paths at some point. Champion versus champion. But speaking of champion versus champion, let's go ahead and bring back Talkin Boxin because David, the Mexican monster Benavidez, beat the brakes off of Demetrius Boo Boo Andrade. And I know I said that this was a dangerous fight for Benavidez. And I still stand by that. I still stand by that because it was a dangerous fight. Just because he needed to make a statement. Because his previous fight with Caleb Plant, after his fight with Caleb Plant, I said, you know what, bro, Canelo would wreck Benavidez if he's in a fight like that. Because he let some dude just grab on him all night and couldn't subdue that. And I know it's not all his fault because the referee should have threatened to take a point away for the excess holding on the part of Caleb Plant. But an elite fighter needs to know how to navigate through somebody that's just trying to hold. And you think Mike Tyson will let somebody just hold him all night? Hell nah. He'll land something. He'll know how to break through that. It's kind of like when you watch soccer. It's like when you watch the Mexican national team. Every time Mexico plays against Guatemala or Honduras or El Salvador, Honduras, we recently saw them play them. These Central American teams, they always bunker, which means they don't attack. They have everybody in the back parking the bus, and they're just trying to counter Mexico. That's the only way they could ever beat them. But Mexico, if they're going to try to become an elite team, which they're not right now, but they should be striving to become one, an elite team figures out how to break through a bunker. It's only a matter of time. You know what I mean? But it's the same thing in boxing. A boxer should learn how to navigate through some guy just trying to hold all night, and trying to run away and pity pat and hold, skippity pat and hold. Shout out Tony Baker. But yeah, man. Now with Benavidez and Andrade now has a statement made. He knocked out Andrade, Boo Boo, who incidentally has been calling out Canelo for years, which is funny to me. Even crashed Canelo's press conference, that infamous one where Canelo's like, he want payday, I know this. Like, get the fuck out of here, man. That's a kid, man. That's a kid. It sounded like Tony Montana. Nah, man. Benavidez versus Canelo. That's a fight that needs to be made. I hear some of the pundits say, because I listen to boxing podcasts as well, and some of the pundits say that Benavidez should have one more fight before he fights Canelo. And perhaps that's reasonable, but I need to see Canelo Benavidez in 2024. That needs to happen. If it's not going to happen in a Cinco de Mayo weekend, then that shit better happen in September. Mexican Independence weekend. It better happen. And this could very well be a passing of the torch bout, as Canelo, the old timer, takes on the new up and coming lion in David Benavidez. And it's crazy to even say Canelo, the old timer, man, because this guy has been boxing since he was 18, and I seen him grow up in this sport, man. He fought Mayweather at the age of 22 when he had a little baby face, man. And it's just crazy. This dude is just, what a legend, man. What a legend, any way you slice it. I used to be a Canelo hater, too, a little bit back in the day. I'm not going to lie. I used to be kind of a Canelo hater. Just because I hate when fighters, especially Mexican fighters, I hate when our fighters get overhyped. You know, like big time overhyped. I can't stand that shit. And the reason I don't like that is because it puts unnecessary pressure on these fighters to be great and to be extraordinary. You know, and boxing is such a difficult sport. And, you know, so I used to kind of be the counterculture. I'd be like, Canelo ain't shit. James Kirkland finna knock his ass out. Boom, James Kirkland gets ragdolled, bro. I'll never forget that. You know what I mean? What's his name? Lara. Lara's gonna beat him. Lara gets beat. What's the other dude that everybody said also supposedly beat Canelo on point? What's that other? Austin Trout? Austin Trout's gonna beat Canelo. Canelo beats him. You know, and then the Golovkin fights are kind of what turned me into a Canelo fan, you know, because, man, Gennady Golovkin, here's the thing. Canelo went to a draw with Golovkin in the first bout, obviously. Beat him in the second bout, which to me, the second one seemed more like a draw than the first one. But then he beat him decisively in the more recent third bout. But people need to understand that Golovkin is not an ordinary fighter. That dude was something else. In his prime, bro, Golovkin was fucking crazy. Like, he just, you know, he created that looping right hook that you see David Benavidez do. You know what I mean? He created that. That looping right hook. That's a Golovkin punch that Benavidez now uses. And incidentally, Benavidez sparred with Golovkin when David was a freaking teenager, dog. Okay, so that goes to show you the experience and incredible lessons and teachings that kid has gotten. But Golovkin was something else. He was something else. So I gained a whole newfound respect for Canelo, man, in the Golovkin fights, even though they were controversial, blah, blah, blah. But, man, for Canelo to eat some of the punches that he ate and keep moving, I knew Bivol wasn't going to knock Canelo out. Because if Gennady couldn't knock him out, I knew Bivol wasn't. Even though he was very close. It looked like he could have, actually, if he put his, you know, put the gas pedal down more. But, man, Canelo just has a indomitable chin and a beard, and he's just a dynamic cat. So I gained a newfound respect for him after the Golovkin fights. But if Canelo continues to avoid the Mexican monster, David Benavidez, my respect is going to dwindle because he needs to fight this kid, man. This fight needs to happen. They're talking about Canelo fighting Jaime Munguia. And Jaime Munguia is a little monster himself, but he's not ready for this. He ain't ready for Canelo. You know, this kid ain't ready for prime time. You put Jaime Munguia in a pay-per-view main event against Canelo. That's like putting Jay White in a pay-per-view main event against MJF. I don't know what the hell they're thinking over there. Then you have Jay White losing clean to Swerve Strickland in the Continental Classic. Bro, Swerve better become champ next. Anyway, I digress. You know, if Canelo fights Munguia and Benavidez fights one more tune-up fight before the big clash, okay, fine. But I better see Canelo versus Benavidez in 2024, one way or the other. And one way or the other, Brian KingRY Garcia has returned in exciting fashion as he stops Oscar Duarte in a round 8 TKO landslide victory for the youngster. And this is a fight that I did not even watch. I saw it on Twitter, man. I saw it on X. I saw the knockout on X, and this is a fight that proves nothing because I need to see KingRY up against some serious opposition before I can really say he's back. Put him against Haney. Put him against Shakur Stevenson. That's the fight he wants anyway. They both want the smoke. They both been talking that masa. You know what I mean? So put your money where your mouth is. Fight Shakur Stevenson. And if Garcia KingRY can beat Shakur Stevenson, then I will sing his praises and proclaim him as to being back. Now, going to the Tank Davis defeat that he suffered earlier this year, I predicted it. I said that I just don't think Ryan Garcia is complete enough to overcome the little tank that is Davis, who is arguably by a few people to be the face of boxing right now. And you know, he's kind of shown it with the pay-per-view numbers that he did with Ryan. Now, granted, KingRY Garcia, the dude's got like 11 million followers on Instagram. So if you can't pop, you know, good numbers, good pay-per-view buy rate with somebody who's drawing 11 million followers, there's clearly something wrong. Because that's the highest pay-per-view date he's ever done. Besides Ryan, though, he has been successful. It's been noted that, you know, he draws at the live gate and in, you know, pay-per-view numbers. So clearly, you know, Tank Davis, he has some credibility for the people out there that do see him as the face of boxing. I do not see him as the face of boxing because to me it's blasphemy to declare anybody that isn't Canelo the face of boxing. You know what I mean? Canelo is the biggest box office attraction right now. He is, you know, one of the greatest of all time, arguably as well. I mean, his accolades speak for itself. The first fighter of any era to unify the super middleweight division. You know, people always throw around the moniker, the first Mexican to unify the super middleweight division. But what they fail is it doesn't matter whether he's Mexican or not. He's the first professional boxer in history to unify the super middleweight division. That by itself is a distinguished accolade for him. You know, that cannot be duplicated. At least not yet. You know, somebody has to step up to that plate. Benavidez, he wants that Canelo fight. And that's a fight that must happen in 2024, one way or the other, as I mentioned, as I said. Ryan Garcia, what's next? I already said it. He needs to fight Haney. He needs to fight Shakur Stevenson, one or the other. Perhaps one more tune-up fight, perhaps, before he gets into those big fights. But he's going to have to show me something. Because this victory over Oscar Duarte, to me, it doesn't prove anything. This Duarte guy, he's like, in wrestling terms, he'd be a jobber. You know what I mean? He may be a gatekeeper in the mid-card at best to get this kid over. I need to see Garcia really, you know, dig in deep to become that complete fighter that we all desire him to be. And it's exciting. This kid is charismatic, man. His roast of Oscar De La Hoya and Bernard Hopkins is some of the most hilarious and entertaining things I've seen in boxing in a long time. I mean, you know, he's just putting them on blast right in front of them, too. Oscar literally standing right behind him while Ryan talks that shit. And Oscar, you know, you could tell he was just coked out of his mind, you know, bugging out like Tony Khan. His eyes popping out of his skull, looking like he want to strangle Ryan Garcia. That was like the most entertaining shit in boxing that I've seen in a long time. In a very long time. That's like when Boo Boo, Demetrius Andrade, crashed Canelo's press conference that one time, you know, like I mentioned earlier, Canelo clowned on him and said, get the fuck out of here, man. Get the fuck out of here. That was so entertaining, and this was reminiscent kind of that, just the entertaining press conferences and stuff. And Bernard Hopkins as well. Somebody, I think the Fight Hub boxing channel on YouTube, when he makes that comment, him being Ryan Garcia, when he says, Bernard Hopkins said he'd never lose to a white boy, but he got knocked out of the ring by Joe Smith. Last time I checked, Joe Smith was white. So they be lying. And then the camera pans in on Bernard Hopkins' face. Like deadpan too. Like it just zooms in on his face. It's the most hilarious shit I've seen in boxing in a long time. This is what boxing needs, guys. All joking aside, that's funny and we're all laughing about it. The memes are going around on X. But this is the kind of shit that boxing needs right now. It needs a charismatic, quick-witted, sharp-tongued, good-looking cat like Ryan Garcia. And this is why I really wanted him to beat Tank Davis earlier this year, man. I really did. I really wanted him, not just because of any personal bias, like, Tank Davis choking out his girlfriend and stuff. So I already vilified him and said he's going to be the heel anytime he fights Garcia. I said that years ago. But this is the guy that boxing needs, man. Or somebody like him. Just a charismatic. That's what's been missing in boxing for a long time. Because as great as Canelo is, yeah, he's the face of boxing and this and that, biggest box office attraction. But let's be real, man. Canelo, he has improved his English like dramatically, substantially. Like he really is starting to speak English really good, but he's still not the answer to what boxing has been missing in a long time, which is a fucking charismatic, young, good-looking cat, man, who can talk it up. Like a Muhammad Ali type of figure. Let's just put it like that. That's the best example. I was going to say Mayweather. I was going to use Mayweather as the example, but he's not a good example because he's not a good-looking cat. At least I don't think so. And he's not, his charisma was more like braggadocious and, he's just marketed himself as a big villain that everybody paid to see lose. And that's what made Mayweather's career. But that's not the answer. We need someone like a Muhammad Ali type. Like a legit, good-looking cat who is charismatic, who is sharp-tongued, who is quick-witted, and could back it up in the ring as well. That's what boxing needs desperately right now. Instead of getting YouTubers like the Paul brothers, doing exhibition bouts against MMA rejects, we need real legit boxers that have this kind of charisma to sell fights and make you laugh and make you feel something. This is what boxing needs desperately right now. Ryan Garcia, he's the answer. But his victory over Oscar Duarte doesn't answer any questions. Everybody on X is tweeting, oh, he's back. We are so back and this and that. I don't buy that. I'm not buying it until I see KingRY mixing it up with Shakur Stevenson or Devin Haney. Cats like that. That's when I can say he's back, if he can beat those type of cats that are closer than not to being elite in the sport of boxing. So only time will tell. We'll see what happens with KingRY Garcia, and we'll see what happens in the aforementioned sweepstakes, Canelo sweepstakes, that is, as David Benavidez is hungry and he is going after Canelo. Will Canelo duck him? Will he fight him? Find out on the next episode of Dragon Ball Z, y'all. All right, before I close out this transmission, let me go ahead and update the current scores of the Continental Classic going down in AEW. We got the Gold League with Jon Moxley at 2-0 with 6 points. Swerve Strickland 2-0, 6 points. Jay White, 1 victory, 1 draw, 3 points. That 1 draw is actually 1 loss, because I know he lost to Swerve Strickland. Roosh is at 1 victory, 1 loss, 0 draws, 3 points. Jay Lethal is 0-2 with 0 points. Boy, have the mighty have fallen. Mark Briscoe as well is 0-2 with 0 points. In the blue league, we got Brody King, 2 victories, 0-0 in the loss and draw category, up at 6 points. Bryan Danielson, clearly the favorite from this group here. 1 victory, 0 draws, 0 losses, 3 points. Andrade El Idolo with 1 victory, 0 draws, 0 losses at 3 points. Claudio Castagnoli with 1 victory and 1 defeat. He has 3 points. Eddie Kingston with 0 points, 2 L's. Daniel Garcia as well, 0 points, 2 L's. So all I'm going to say, I'm not going to really make any predictions as far as all these individual matches play out, but I want to say from the blue league, Bryan Danielson should be the favorite to advance, and in the gold league, I'd love it for Swerve Strickland to advance and he be the one to win this whole classic. You know what I mean? But I really think if the injury rumor is true that MJF is a lot more hurt than what is believed to be, and he's gonna have to take time off, I don't think it should be Samoa Joe that takes the title off of John Moxley? Where am I at? I'm back in time to last year. No, it should be Swerve Strickland that takes the title off of MJF, because that would be a huge rub for that dude, man, and he deserves it. He's firing on all cylinders right now, and I think it would make the most sense. But knowing Tony Khan, he's probably gonna, if anything, he's probably gonna have Bryan Danielson and Jon Moxley in the final, because there's already kind of a built-in storyline with both of them being associated with the Blackpool Combat Club, and they're both fighters and whatnot. But my pick is for Swerve Strickland to win the whole damn tournament. And with that said, ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much for joining me on this episode. I'll be back when I be back, whenever I can. And tip your waitresses, tip your Lyft drivers, and as I always say, live life on cruise control, because sometimes you get farther when you take it slow. I'm out.